Now, this is the newest interface I'm seeing for audience selection. Okay, so what does this mean? It means that Meta will automatically show ads to people most likely to respond. In general, the broader the audience, the better your results will be. Okay, that's okay. If I want to create a campaign that only targets Belgium, I can select Belgium, and this will be a hard restriction. So it basically means it won't go beyond Belgium as a country. So far, so good. Now, for the age, you can see it's the default is set to 18 to 65 plus. There are no notifications that Meta will go beyond. Why? Because it's already been set to the default and it's everyone basically. But look what happens when I change the defaults. So let's set it to 18 to 40. Now a new checkbox appears. Use the age as a suggestion. This means that Meta will also be able to show your ad to ages beyond your selection. And they say they will only go beyond when it's likely to improve performance. Now, from my experience, they will go beyond the 40 age limit in this case, because a lot of people who are older, they interact more with ads. If you really want to restrict the age limitation, be sure to unselect this checkbox. When you unselect it, it will function as a hard restriction based on age. Now, there's also the possibility to add a custom audience. When you select a custom audience, the same happens. You can choose to select it as a suggestion or as a hard restriction. So when I would select an audience of all website visitors, for example, I will also get the checkbox to go beyond the custom audience. If you don't want Meta to go beyond your custom audience, you should uncheck the checkbox. Okay, so right now, these are the only options that are visible by default. Of course, this is intentional from Meta because they just want you to go broad. But mind the show more option drop-down settings. If you click it, you get a lot more options. We'll go over these right now. So these are the gender-based options, detailed targeting, and language. Let's see what happens when we edit the gender. So right now it's set by default to all. If I would select man, again there's a checkbox. So Meta is asking, would you like to use man as a suggestion so we can also show your ads to women or all genders? If your target audience are men because you're selling men clothes, yeah, of course, you would like to uncheck the checkbox. The same goes for detailed targeting. So you can provide some interest, like let's say digital marketing. Now it says detailed targeting inclusions are always suggestions. So I predict detailed targeting in the future will always be a suggestion. I think it's okay for detailed targeting to go beyond your targeting because you don't know which interests are relevant for your target audience. There are a lot of interests that might be relevant that you wouldn't think of. Then there's the language. So I could select English. As you can see, when I select the English, there isn't an option to use it as a suggestion. So also the language is a hard restriction. Okay, so let's review all the available options. So the location, it's a hard restriction. The age, it can go beyond the ages you've selected. The custom audience, it can go beyond the custom audience selection. However, you can control it, so you can unselect the checkbox. Gender, it can go beyond the gender unless you unselect the checkbox. Detailed targeting, it will always go beyond your selection. The language, this again is a hard restriction. If you set language to English, it will only target people who understand English. So to recap, this is the latest audience selection interface I'm seeing in my account. You may not yet be seeing this one, but if you do, pay attention to the audience title and know that you are still able to set hard restrictions or use your inputs as suggestions.